racially motivated police brutality is a myth.
Feminism it's the biggest joke in the entire world.
You don't believe in climate change?
No, I think the climate always changes.
She's downplayed the effects of white supremacy, made fans out of Donald Trump and Kanye, and started a movement to get Black Americans out of the Democratic Party. But before all that, she actually ran an anti-conservative blog. Let's take a look at how Candace Owens became the darling of the right.
Everybody involved in this fake racial war is a loser.
Candace Owens was born in 1989 in Stamford, Connecticut, where she was raised by her grandparents along with her 3 siblings. At 17 years old, she made local headlines after receiving multiple racist death threats via voicemail from several of her classmates. Owens reported the threats to a teacher who alerted the school and the authorities.
I didn't go to the police. Like, my teacher went to the police. It turned into the zoo. These kids were labeled publicly racists, right? I'm not comfortable with ever labeling a 14-year-old racist, right? Or any of these kids racist.
Owens switched to homeschooling during her senior year of high school. Feeling a loss of control in her life, she has said she developed anorexia around this time.
After going through a unique situation and feeling that my whole life was out of control, I just manifested as an eating disorder. And I had it for 4 years, on and off.
With the help of the NAACP, she and her grandfather eventually sued the Stamford Board of Education for failing to properly address the threats. Owens went on to study journalism at the University of Rhode Island, but dropped out due to a student loan issue her junior year. After college, she entered at Vogue and worked at a private equity firm in New York City. In 2015, she founded a marketing agency called Degree 180.
What's up, everyone? My name is Candace Owens. I'm the CEO of Degree180.com, here answering your questions.
The agency had a blog where Owens and several other writers occasionally published anti-conservative content. One article even mocked Donald Trump's penis size. The site is no longer active. Here's one article written by Owens, citing, quote, a full-scale investigation into the batshit crazy antics of the Republican Tea Party. In 2016, she launched a Kickstarter campaign for socialautopsy.com, a website where people could send in screenshots of offensive posts with the goal of exposing internet bullies.
We understand the harm that social media like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter has allowed for, which is essentially a dehumanization. How can we bring it back to if we don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all? Our answer was simple: through accountability. So what we do is we attach their words to their places of employment, and anybody in the entire world can search for them.
Critics of the site, however, said it would encourage doxing and retaliatory harassment, and warned that it would be easy for users to make and submit fake screenshots. After the Kickstarter went live, Owens was contacted by Zoe Quinn, the video game developer who was at the center of Gamergate. If you need a refresher, Gamergate was a campaign against progressivism and feminism in video game culture. Zoe Quinn was Gamergate's first victim. In 2014, she faced an online harassment campaign after her ex-boyfriend publicly accused her, without evidence, of exchanging sex for a good review of her game. On the Rubin Report, Owens said that Quinn reached out to her and asked her to stop working on socialautopsy.com, warning Owens that she could be harassed by Gamergaters, just as she previously had.
And she says, you have to pull your project because people actually don't want to find out who harassed them.
Owens declined Quinn's request, and as Quinn had warned, people soon started posting Owens' private details online in protest of social autopsy. With little evidence, Owens blamed Quinn and the progressive side of Gamergate for the doxing she experienced.
I became a conservative overnight. I realized that liberals were actually the racists, that liberals were actually the trolls.
In September 2017, she created a YouTube channel called Red Pill Black. Her first video was a skit reenacting her quote-unquote coming out as a conservative.
Mom, Dad, I'm a lesbian. I like girls. We love you regardless. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, also, I think I might be a conservative.
Owens started regularly posting videos criticizing Democrats, feminists, and the Black Lives Matter movement.
What does Black Lives Matter want? I mean, to date, it seems like all they've really accomplished is burning down black neighborhoods, pissing off police officers, and ruining future employment opportunities for black kids that riot on their behalf and get arrested.
Her first viral YouTube video featured her commentary on the white supremacy rally held in Charlottesville, Virginia in summer 2017.
Approximately 93% of black homicide victims are killed by other black people. Nobody wants us dead more than we want ourselves dead. Everybody involved in this fake racial war is a loser.
The video caught the attention of many conservatives online, including InfoWars conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Candace, I know about your story, but this is riveting. I want to beg you to come on the full show sometime with Paul and I and share these stories. Paul, what a great guest.
In November 2017, Turning Point USA, a conservative student nonprofit that was at the time facing allegations of racial bias, hired Owens as its director of urban engagement. She was later promoted to communications director. In April 2018, a video of her berating black protesters at a Turning Point USA event went viral, catching the eye of then-President Donald Trump.
I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did, and it's embarrassing.
You have a young lady who's been very much in the news in the last 3 or 4 days.
Candace Owens.
Because she's fantastic. She's like the hottest thing out there now.
Kanye also gave Owens a shout-out, sparking a relationship that lasts to this day.
Somebody actually sent it to me in a text, and I thought they were pranking me because he's the only person that is in hip-hop or that has a public stage that is willing to think independently.
In late 2018, Owens founded Blexit, a movement to get black Americans out of the Democratic Party.
Minorities do not belong to the left. We belong to nobody but ourselves and God. Okay?
In early 2019, she spoke at the Conservative Political Action Conference, aka CPAC, for the first time.
Stop selling us our own oppression. Stop taking away our self-confidence by telling us that we can't because of racism, because of slavery. I've never been a slave in this country. Stop telling us that we need to be obsessing over our past when we should be obsessing over our future and the potential that we have.
In April 2019, she attended a congressional hearing on white nationalism and clashed with Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu.
I'm going to let her own words do the talking. So I'm going to play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
Whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. Problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize.
He's trying to present as if I was launching a defense of Hitler in Germany, when in fact, the question that was asked of me was pertaining to whether or not I believed that whether or not I believed in nationalism, and that nationalism was bad.
Owens' comments about Hitler prompted several Turning Point USA chapters to call on her to resign, which she did in May 2019, citing her need to focus on Blexit and writing her first book. In August 2019, Owens married George Farmer, who is now the CEO of conservative social media site Parler.
My husband's English, met in London, got engaged 2 weeks later, and then, got married about 8 months after that.
Owens attended another congressional hearing in September 2019, during which she downplayed the effects of white supremacy in the U.S.
White supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. The things that I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number 1, father absence. Number 2, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high. Abortion ranks high. White supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce.
In October 2019, she was invited to speak at the Young Black Leadership Summit, which was held at the White House.
We want Trump. We want the victor narrative.
In June 2020, she faced intense backlash for a comment she made about George Floyd on Blaze TV.
The fact that he has been held up as a martyr sickens me. George Floyd was not a good person.
In September 2020, she released her first book titled Blackout: How Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democrat Plantation.
People kept saying, Candace, you can't use the phrase Democrat plantation. And I was like, no, I want to call it a Democrat plantation. And the Democrats had the plantations because it was the Democrats that owned the slaves.
In March 2021, she started hosting Candace, a political talk show on Daily Wire Plus, where she shares her takes on news and pop culture, often garnering backlash.
What about the entire COVID conspiracy theory? The idea that masks worked, which has now been debunked.
If Black people are getting 1 month for the stuff that we live through in America, somebody's going to need to explain to me how it is that gay people and lesbian and trans people also got a month.
I do not believe that Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't. I think that is what people like to accuse men of when they're trying to take them down.